Every year, China suffers from ridiculous floods.
Yes.
Okay? And this is a lot to do with very poor planning on the Chinese government's behalf. Because it happens every year, and they just never seem to prepare for it. They just kind of fix it, put a Band-Aid on it at the end of the year, and they're like, oh, well.
It also seems to be getting worse every year.
It is getting worse.
Like the flooding's getting worse.
It absolutely is getting worse. Yeah. Anyway, the fact is, throughout Chinese history, the idea of building dams and diverting rivers has always been a very important thing for the government to do, for the emperors to do. It gives them power over nature and power over the people. So, of course, the Communist Party really took this to heart, and they built a lot of dams. And they really didn't think it out. And they actually screwed up a lot of the river systems and screwed up a lot of the places where people live.
Yeah, so, Chairman Mao, when he came up with all these dam ideas.
Like, just damn ideas.
Yeah. Put dams all over the country just to have man overcome nature.
Yeah.
That kind of government policy continued all the way through today.
Yes.
Like, that hasn't changed. That's the problem when people are like, well, dictatorships get stuff done real fast.
Yeah, but they don't do it well.
They do it poorly, and there's no change, right?
Yeah.
It's the same government that was in place then with the stupid ideas that are making crap that falls apart now.
Yeah. And on top of that, as we've mentioned many times before, the drainage systems don't exist or are very lacking in all Chinese cities, except for Qingdao and I think it's Hangzhou.
Yeah.
They have one there. And that's basically because one of them is an ancient Chinese city where they knew how to build drainage. And the
Chinese
other one,
stuff used to be good.
Yeah. And Qingdao was built by the Germans, so it has good drainage. But every other city sucks when it rains.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look at a couple of things here. Here we just have a random sinkhole appearing, as they do in China. I'll take that volume down. It's not important. But the whole point is, this is a brand new area and a brand new road. And you'll see, like, if we look down the road there, this is one of the many new projects that get built all over the place. They're about to break ground and build apartment buildings and whatever. But brand new construction, and you've already got a sinkhole. It shows you the lack of quality when it comes to these, construction projects they have all over China. Now, this is just almost poetry in a way.
It really is. I love that you can't see the bottom of the hole.
Yes.
That's terrifying.
Imagine you're driving in your Tesla, as this dude was, and a sinkhole appears, and your car gets stuck in a sinkhole.
It's like a cave.
What's even better...
Oh, I can see water now. Okay,
oh, you can see it now, yeah.
I can see it, yeah.
Well, I mean, he's lucky he didn't fall into it.
Yeah.
But the better thing is the communist hammer and sickle in the background on that propaganda.
Yeah, I love that.
Because it's like, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
this is what you get. They're like, we are like all the core socialist values or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
If you have that communist stuff going on, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Sinkholes in the road.
Yes.
Right at an intersection. And a new building being built in the background.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's a China scene for you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, now, let's get on to something a little more terrifying.
Yeah.
So this happened in Shanxi, and this happened on the 19th.
Yeah.
All right? And what was happening was people were driving at night on this, by the way, newly constructed highway. It's very new. It's only a couple of years old. And they're driving at night, as you do, at 100 plus kilometers an hour.
Thanks.
You're driving along there, and, well, for the first 25 cars, they didn't see anything. But then some people...
Highway.
It's a highway. Some people obviously pulled over. But 25 cars, and probably more, they say 25 cars, went straight off of this highway.
Yeah, and they just...
At like 100 plus kilometers an hour.
Chinese government projects are so bad. That's terrifying.
I mean, also, look, there are no lights. You saw on the road, there are no street lights in that particular area.
No.
So it's dark. There's no warning. Nobody's telling you that there's a problem. Now, imagine you're just going on this highway at 100 plus kilometers an hour and the road disappears. Terrifying.
Why are there still people clamoring about like how amazing China's infrastructure is? It's so bad.
It's because they only ever see the propaganda and they don't really get to see the reality like this. So, 31 people are still missing.
Yeah. This is official data.
Yeah, and that's official data, so who knows how many really? Because,
I can read it.
Okay,
31,
what is it?
31 missing, 12 confirmed dead, 1 person survived, and at least 43 people died, according to logic, basically.
Yeah, at least.
There was at least 25 vehicles that fell in, like you said.
At least.
So you're talking about, there's a lot of people gone, right?
Yes.
It's definitely being underreported.
Well, in China, from my own experiences, you very rarely get a situation where there's just one person in the car, especially if you're traveling a distance. You normally get a bunch of people in the car to go a distance. So if you've got 25 vehicles, you can at least times that by 2.
Yeah.
At least 50, right? And there was one survivor who got pulled out. He said that he had his family members in the car.
Yeah.
And they're just gone.
Yes.
Just like everyone else. Because one thing you have to understand is when you're traveling at highway speeds, like look at the remnants of cars. When you're traveling that fast and you suddenly go off a highway, the chances of survival are very slim anyway.
Yeah.
Even if you were to just crash normally, if you were to just go off the highway. But imagine falling down into a river, a raging river.
Yes.
So the concussion from the accident itself, if that doesn't kill you, the car, look at that car, okay? Look at this. This is a car, one of them from this accident.
Yeah.
I'll get us out of here so you can see it clearly. So if you don't die immediately from the actual force of the accident, you're going to be very disorientated. Say your airbags really saved your life or something. You're going to be disorientated and now in a raging river.
Yeah.
The chances of you getting out of your car are 0.
Yeah.
Absolutely 0. The guy who was rescued, apparently all the windows shattered in his car and he was kind of thrown out.
Yes.
So, we're talking about a horrific scenario over here.
I was just trying to figure this out. People were wondering how old the bridge was.
I think it's 6 years old.
It's something like that. It's years old. It's not dozens of years old.
No. I think it's about 6 years old from what I remember reading. But you can see it is a newly constructed highway. Look, you can see they're pulling a truck out of the water there. Whoever was in that truck, is no
that
longer
was the
around.
Survivor.
No, that wasn't.
That wasn't?
No, it was a passenger car and he had his family in it.
Oh, okay.
It's just horrific that this would happen. And you can just imagine yourself in the middle of the night. And also the power and the cell phone service and everything apparently was off and spotty and all that at the time. And there's another one of the cars and you can just see the chances of surviving are 0. 25 vehicles gone. And of course, all the people that are still missing are presumed dead because there's absolutely 0 chance.
Where did they go?
Down the river. Now, look, you can take a look over here if you look at this footage. One side of the highway remained up, the other side collapsed, which leads, netizens are discussing this in China, and they're looking at this and saying, well, it's absolutely due to bad construction because the foundations obviously weren't good enough on the one side. They were good enough on the other side, but not on the one side. Huh. So, think about it. If it was just nature and the water was too bad or whatever, why would one side stay up and the other side not?
True.
Unless it was just poor quality construction, because a lot of shortcuts are taken in China.
Yeah.
Bad materials are used, specifications aren't followed, and they know, oh, well, this is in a river part. This is probably supposed to be very, very reinforced and very deep, all that. And they just do whatever they do. And it happens a lot. And we talked about that Meizhou highway not that long ago where a similar thing happened, right?
Yeah.
So that's what people are saying is that it's down to corruption and shortcuts as to why this happened. But
it's a horror movie. Look at this.
Yeah. China has been experiencing these ridiculous floods again. And I know people might feel fatigued because every year we show you what looks like the same footage.
Yeah.
Which is just a bunch of brown, muddy water absolutely destroying everything in its path. But this is new footage. Yeah. And this is what happens every year in China. Okay? And I wanted to show you, the reason I'm showing you all this extra flood footage is I wanted to show you all what China's propaganda response to all of this is, really. There's another different bridge that was just swept away, or road, I should say. Again, the official numbers that get reported are always underreported. So you don't know how many people actually went missing. This is a completely different bridge that also collapsed. I had multiple bridges collapsing around China during this time. And houses and entire villages being swept away,
Yeah,
basically.
we showed those villages going away
Yeah, exactly.
last time.
So it's intense. I mean, if you just look at this footage behind us, it's just really, really intense. And there's nothing you could do to stop it, you know?
No, other than, change your entire government's method of checks and making sure building materials are good and delete corruption and stop being a piece of garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than that.
Yeah, other than that, yeah. Actually, for once, what they should is they should hold people accountable. Because there's always some oversight committee that's being bribed that, as to why this stuff happens. But they never seem to be held accountable.
That guy is...
He's such a Laoban, isn't he? He's got his Beijing bikini.
Yeah, it was great.
So again, just showing you some of the footage that has happened in recent weeks.
Just look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's just insane. Houses falling down, the works. Like I said, it doesn't get better. It gets worse every year.
It does. It really does.
So because of all this excess rain, a huge amount of rainfall and so on, the Three Gorges Dam, as we all know, China's most proud marvel,
modern marvel,
has had to open its sluice gates, to more than it usually has to, obviously, to take to relieve some of the strain of all this heavy flooding and all this water, which of course has now resulted in everything downstream being flooded to all hell and gone like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you think the Chinese government's going to tell its shills to do during this time, its propagandists to do, when they have to release so much water from the Three Gorges Dam that it's biblical? What do you think they're going to do?
Well, because of the implications here, if the Three Gorges Dam were to fail, hundreds of millions of people would be affected, right?
Sure.
So I'm going to guess that they're going to say that everything is awesome and great, and everyone's having a great big old party.
Yeah, well, something similar to that. We'll show you in a second.
See how close I am.
Yeah, we will, because it's coming up. While all this horrific flooding and devastation is happening, downstream from the Three Gorges Dam, CCP shills are posting things like this. Let's see, can we read this?
It's a bit cold inside the waterfall to those wearing light tops at the Three Gorges Grand Waterfall. You are having so much fun. In the Three Gorges Grand Waterfall scenic area, visitors are experiencing refreshing sensation brought by the waterfall. What is that, the sluice gates?
Yeah.
What is this tone-deaf nonsense? I hadn't read this yet.
Yeah.
The water is extremely chilly, especially underneath the falls where the temperature drops significantly, providing a cooling effect that also makes people feel cold.
Yep.
It's a cooling effect.
It's
it makes
very
you
cool.
feel cold.
Yes, more like a chill.
Many visitors are dressed in light tops, fully enjoying the thrill and fun the waterfall brings. Despite the cold, they remain enthusiastic and have a great time. This literally reads like North Korean propaganda.
Yep.
Like at the water park or whatever. The official team even took videos of the visitors playing under the waterfall, capturing moments of them shivering from the cold, making them unforgettable memories. Do you know why they do this?
Why?
They want to redirect any search traffic that's going to Three Gorges Dam stuff. They don't want to know about it potentially, failing, how much horrific it would be the end of China. If the Three Gorges Dam failed, it would be the end of the entire country.
Yeah, and I mean, like we've stated before, we don't think it will fail because it's so important to them. But it's all the destruction that's happening because they've had to open the sluice gates of the Three Gorges Dam to relieve pressure.
Yeah.
So they've released all this stuff, and it's going down.
It serves a couple purposes here, because you think about it, like people are like, oh, I heard these sluice gates open. It's probably like a lot of water everywhere, and then all of a sudden on your feet, it's like, oh, actually, it's just Three Gorges Dam waterfall, and they're having fun. It's like a freaking wet t-shirt contest or something.
Exactly. Because they have these Three Gorges there's Three Gorges scenic spots, which are upriver from the Three Gorges Dam itself, like this place. And it's all about deflecting. Remember, this is what happened years ago when we pointed out the shills, and we blanked out everything about them, but they're people that we knew were going to this Three Gorges scenic spot at the same time that there were massive floods. Isn't it weird? Every single time there are massive floods that are really wreaking havoc and displacing people and people dying, en masse downstream, they always show this like, oh, the Three Gorges scenic spot's so amazing. It's so cool.
We should coin a term. Maybe it's the wet tea shill contest.
Yeah, nice. Wet tea shells, yes. I love it. Wet tea shells. Anyway, so this is...
shill broth coming out.
Chugging on shill broth. Ugh. Anyway, so this is the Chinese response to all this devastating flood stuff related
Everyone
to the Three
having
Gorges
fun
Dam.
in a Three Gorges waterfall.
And making amazing memories.
Yes.
This is obviously filmed at a completely different time, but this was released on the 25th.
Makes
This
sense.
tweet, so just a couple days ago, to kind of combat, I guess, the search terms about the devastation.
Yeah.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Anyway, let's take a quick look at this, shall we?
I didn't see the video yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like one of those tourist cave thingies.
Now we got to move on to something even darker than driving down a highway at night and plunging into the water. So, something people might not realize. Okay, every time there's one of these floods, people's cars get destroyed, like huge amounts.
Yeah.
You know, China's always touting like how they have the most EV sales or whatever.
Right.
It's probably because they have to be replaced every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone who owns a car has to replace it after these floods.
Yeah.
Now, what happens is the underground parking lots, because in China, the only place you can really park is under your building. Mm-hmm. Okay? You got these underground parking lots chock full of cars. And of
You
course...
mean underground coffins.
Yes, pretty much. And what happens is when it rains, like, and it floods like this, of course, the underground parking lot fills up to the ceiling. And all the cars in there are destroyed. In fact, I once saved a friend of mine's car because... he actually lent it to me for like a couple weeks. And while I was driving it, his underground parking lot filled up to, and every other car was destroyed. But because I was driving his car for a week, I saved it.
My goodness.
Yeah. Remember that little thing?
Yep.
Anyway, that was a fun little car.
Yeah.
As you can see here, this is just footage of a typical scene, right? They're pumping the water out of the underground parking lot. And of course, all the cars in there are screwed. And there's no way to get it out. When the flood starts, when the water starts coming, you cannot get in there to drive. Now,
This is a horror movie, dude.
This is nightmare fuel, right? These rescuers are now busy going into the underground parking basically to...
Don't say carsophagus, guys.
Yeah, that's a
This
bit bad.
gets grim, all right?
Okay, now here's the thing. This is footage that was shown of these rescuers going into an underground parking lot, obviously just to pump out the water or something, not to rescue anyone, because I feel like that's not going to happen. But netizens were looking at this footage and they noticed something. If you look
so
closely.
keep in mind, this is supposed to be promoting like the rescue efforts, but the netizens are like, wait, what's that?
Yeah, and you might have noticed in our thumbnail, but if you look closely in this footage, and I've got pictures that'll come up in a minute.
Yeah, see if you can spot it first.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's
First
so
of all,
grim.
okay, take a look at that ceiling over there. You can see where the water reached. So there's about this, probably about this much space where the water didn't go to. There's a little bit of air.
It's rushing, by the way. It's sloshing
yeah.
around. It's not still, right?
Exactly. So basically, like it went all the way up to the ceiling and left about that much gap, right? That's all that was left. And if you look closer, you can actually see handprints, which is absolutely nightmare fuel. See up there? Of the poor people that were trapped in there and had just like a few inches of air to probably breathe for a few minutes.
Before.
Well,
Filled
yeah.
up.
Obviously, they didn't rescue. There wasn't anyone to rescue. So it must have been just the most horrific thing to be trapped. You can see the handprints, the muddy handprints of people obviously trying to escape. And that is probably the most terrifying scenario I can think of. One of.
Absolutely chilling.
Yeah.
Like, especially right there. Just leave it there for a sec. If you look at the ones, you can imagine the people like, you know, trying to struggle in the water like this.
Yeah.
But then the one on the top is like, they're already, you know, you're able to touch the top. The water's already that high. So you're doing this.
Yeah, no, it's awful. It's absolutely terrifying.
Unbelievable. It's a survival horror game.
It is a nightmare. Like I'm probably gonna have trouble sleeping if I think about it.
I know
too
that's
much.
horrible.
Yeah. And that is
well spotted from the netizens, though.
Yeah.
Netizens are Chinese internet citizens. They're called netizens.
Yeah, called netizens. Yeah.
Just in case you guys didn't know.
Yeah. So that is unfortunately what happens when these floods hit. Because if anyone was currently parking their car, if anyone went down to try and save their car, thought that like, let me go down quickly and see if I can pull my car out of the garage, their fate was this. You know. Yeah.
I want people, before we move on, to understand how many of these parking garages there are.
Yeah.
like when this happens, these all go. Even in the cities where I was living, where people had pretty good warning that this is about to happen, they fill up so fast.
Yeah.
You remember like the rain comes down and be like, okay, everyone move your cars out, and then the parking lots get full, right?
Yeah.
But it can rush in there like this. It's almost like a floodgate.
Yeah, it's like a flash flood.
It's like then whoop, it pours down, and then you can't drive your car out of it because of the force of the water rushing down the ramp.
And you can see the shutters were closed here.
Yes, and the scariest thing is that I've seen people when they're like trying to get out, they can't even force their car up the rushing water.
Yes.
Right, because it's too powerful.
And there's
so
not enough
get
traction.
Out,
Yeah.
and then they can't walk through it.
No.
I'm talking about water up to your shins.
Yeah.
And people can't trudge through it when it's a torrent, right? And they get pushed down in there. And then
and it's slippery. The ground is slippery.
You end up like this.
Yep.
It's awful.
Awful. Yeah.
Terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. So yeah, that's it's not safe. Let's put it that way.
他们只懂吃羊，是不分男。
What, is that just killing them?
He
actually shoots them and you see blood. He's riding them over. It's like
大头儿子，小头爸爸。
Buzzer right
that's
there.
just so dumb. Wow, that's pretty bad. Oh boy.
Train me to defeat him.
Like,
You think
what
you
is
have
he
the courage?
wearing? Like a suicide vest?
You're pretty gullible, aren't you?
What the?
Close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my life.